One of the biggest questions that we have is about expectations and how in the current marketplace and the most recent downturn, how that's affected the expectations of clients and those general investors in the marketplace. Looking here at this graph from the Federal Reserve of the United States GDP, we can see in those bars in gray times of recession and the line in blue, which is the GDP of the United States. As you can see throughout, general growth since 1919 up until present time. And like you can see here in the gray, the most recent downturn, where we have a dramatic drop in GDP. So exactly what we've been feeling in from 2008 until the end of the recession, and then as the recovery has come about. But a tremendous effect. And it's interesting to note, the few number of recessions that have occurred over time in the last 20, even 30 years, that it has had a profound effect on generations in terms of their experience of negative GDP growth and generally the culture of how Americans experience declines in GDP. For example, if we look at pre-2008 downturn, we look at the different age groups of what age they would be in 2011, whether they be 10, 20, 30, and all the way up to 90. And we take the percent of their life that is spent in negative GDP growth. We look there and say, okay, we can see the disparity between the younger generations and the older generations in terms of how much negative GDP growth they experienced. You can see the disparity exhibited in this yellow triangle, basically. If we hold that off to the side, you can see that disparity in context. Now, this again was before the most recent downturn. If we are now to bring into account the most recent downturn, now you can see in red how that has changed that percent of lifetime spent in negative GDP growth. Again, if we can see in orange the new difference, or at least change, that has occurred amongst the generations, we can see a profound difference. And even when we overlap the two, you can see that this one recession, in terms of how it has affected the various generations, has been profound.